practiced all week. The lyrics feel solid until they vanish when you're under pressure. What's that all about? It's a mental cognition issue. Most singers rely on standard practice, and that entails practicing with cues like lyrics, the music, even the artist in the background. And I get it. It does build recognition and it feels productive, but it's actually only half of the picture. What's missing is recall, the internal memory that allows you to perform without any outside help. And deep memory practice is how you build it. So if you're blanking on stage and you keep forgetting your lyrics and your phrasing under pressure, it's likely because your practice and training is only focused on the recognition side of things and totally neglecting recall. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start training for recall as well and tap into the deeper side of your memory so that you can perform with more confidence and consistency. I'm Crystal Sherrill, professional R&B vocal coach at Indie Artist School. If you're serious about leveling up your vocal performance, go ahead and click like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you can be the first alerted for my next vocal video. Recognition is what happens when you sing with the track and everything feels familiar. Even if you're taking one piece out, you may recognize the environment. And that works okay, some of the time. But recall is what happens when the music is off and you're able to sing the song and the lyrics on cue without any outside help. The more you rely on recognition alone, the harder it becomes to access recall. How do you shift? That's where this next step comes in. This is a hidden superpower, and it's kinesthetic memory. It's when your body moves and helps your brain recall something internally. So I like to marry certain movements with different phrases and lyrics so that it sticks a lot better. Have you ever noticed how lyrics just tend to flow a little bit more when you're moving? Sometimes when we're too stiff, it can be stifling for you. A way that you could train this is to walk while you practice. Gesture your hand during certain phrases. Even light movements anchors a memory. Practicing like this helps you to nail this live so that even if your mind is wobbling, your body remembers those transitions. Singers freeze because they practice very differently than how they perform. Maybe you practice singing in your car, which is fine, but remember, if you want it to be into long-term memory and you want to really hack and use kinesthetic learning, you need to practice the way you plan to perform. So stand up. Move your body. If that's how you're going to be on stage, if you're a singer who sits and plays guitar, practice that way as well. That way you could start memorizing those transitions and get them integrated in your body. Now, I hate to tell you this, movement memory isn't enough. There's more. If you don't train recall in layers, you'll still forget. So let me show you what locks it in even further. Chunk and layer. Stop trying to do the whole song. One of the standard ways of training is to go through the entire song every single time. Trying to sing from the start to finish every time can be overwhelming, and sometimes your brain actually starts tapping out before you're done. So instead, break it down into 4 bars or 8 at the most. Here's a process that I want you to try. It's a 4-step process. Speak the lyrics like a monologue. So instead of singing the song, pretend you're just telling the story of the song. Number 2, hum the melody with no lyrics. Then start marrying the melody together with the lyrics. And number 4, and I know this is going to be so hard for you guys to resist, but add stylization at the end. I know, as an R&B vocalist, seeing vocal challenges and runs and all of this, we love this. Sometimes it's better to start simple when you're chunking and layering and trying to memorize a song. So you could add the vibrato, the runs, the dynamics, all of that after you've already done step 1 through 3. The benefit of this is because each layer engages a different part of your brain. So you're not just memorizing. This method also helps reduce performance anxiety because you're not relying on single memory anymore. Practicing from multiple angles makes your recall stronger. If you want to sound as polished as you can as you're memorizing the songs that you want to sing, go ahead and click the links below. I offer a 15-minute vocal diagnostic where I can help you break through your biggest vocal issue. That's at indieartistschool.com. I also have a vocal coaching program called R&B Singing Success. Right now, at the time of this video, I am full, but I do have a wait list, so go ahead and check it out at indieartistschool.com. Also, if you want to go a more self-paced route, I recommend you join the R&B Singers Arsenal, where you can get vocal exercises to start training and conditioning your voice today. Chunking gets your brain organized, but if you always start from the top, you're not actually testing your memory. That's where the next strategy flips your practice upside down and exposes whether you really know the song or just a certain sequence. Start in the middle. Most people always start at the beginning, but I've noticed a pattern. When people tend to freeze up and not perform the way they want, a lot of times that freeze is not happening at the very first note. A lot of times it's well into the song. So to break this habit in your practice so that you have less likelihood of freezing up live, rehearse backwards. Start from the second chorus, maybe even the end or the bridge, then the first verse. That way you can make sure your brain knows the whole song and not just the first 60 seconds or just the hook. Stage performance is totally unpredictable sometimes, and rehearsing out of order actually helps you have more flexibility with your control. You're mastering your instrument. Okay, so this next recall trick is one of my favorites to use with my students. It's a fail-safe to make sure that you have an anchor to rely on no matter what. If any of the tips that I've told you so far has helped you, I want you to comment "locked in" so I know you're leveling up your recall. Vocal landmarks. Every single song has vocal landmarks, even if it's a chill song. There's usually some emotional moments, signature lines, big riffs and runs. Those are always easy to remember because they're usually a hallmark of the song. And if you're a vocalist who loves singing, it's probably your favorite part anyway. The good news about using them as a landmark is that they can actually help you remember everything else before it and after it. So let's try this. Find 3 of the biggest vocal moments in a song that you're working on right now and memorize those first. Now, I know earlier I told you to do that last if you're chunking and layering, but for the purpose of using a landmark as your guide, this is a great strategy to start. I like to use this if you've never worked on the song before. Now build backwards and forwards from those landmarks. So think about what is the word and phrasing that you say right before that big moment. What are the words and phrasing of what you sing after it? Think of it like points on a road if you're on a road trip. If you know the major turns, you can always reroute. So even if you get lost, you can always find your way back. Do you see why I called it a fail-safe now? But even with all of that, if you're not testing yourself in the right way, it still may not stick the way you want it to. Testing is better than rehearsing. This may actually be a hot take here because rehearsal is like the #1 form of practice that every artist I know has ever used. Every time you hear someone say rehearsal, we always hear it and understand it to mean going through your set, right? Just running through all the songs from beginning to end. That's fine to do a run through or rehearsal when you've already done all of these steps I've told you, when you've done the testing. But a lot of singers do this in replacement of really memorizing, okay? So rehearsal does not equal testing, okay? Let me tell you what testing is. Testing is a diagnostic for the gaps in your memory. What I mean by that is if you were to sing the song all the way through, no outside stimuli, no lyrics, no music, no outside cues, how far can you go before things start getting a little bit weird, okay? Before you have to start making words up and ad-lib in places because you forgot how it goes. You need to make note of that so you know exactly the gaps in your memory. And then go back to the other chunking and layering and the muscle memory guides and vocal landmarks and the other tips I gave you to work out those sections. But you're not going to know where those places are in the song unless you test them. Why is it good to isolate like this? Is because it turns your rehearsal into precision training. This is very important. If you go through things and ignore your weak points will always be your weak points. If you're ready to interrupt that pattern and finally break free, this is the way to do it. This also helps you be more efficient with your time. Instead of going over parts that you already know really well, you get to work on the parts that you don't know as well. And if you do this properly, you're not only focused and efficient, but you're ready to perform. Remember, train recall, not just recognition. Use your body, chunk and layer. Start from the middle or the end, anywhere but the beginning. Find your vocal landmarks and work behind and in front of them. And test yourself. Don't just rehearse. And click this video right here to learn more. Happy singing.